and I'm going to record the class. So hello everybody, welcome to the second round of Shadow Work class. Daniela! Oh my god. Some of my favorite humans are here, some of my favorite new clients are here. I'm really glad you guys are all here. We are going to be talking about, and mostly not talking about, but doing the work of leaving some space open for us to meet and greet any shadow aspects of ourselves that want to come up tonight. And be seen and loved and heard and embraced by us. So that's kind of where I'll begin. To me, that's what shadow work is. The ability to take our consciousness and our energy and bring that into spaces that are unknown or pushed away or shamed or put in the dark for any old reason. And the main reasons for that would probably be because we didn't have tools. We didn't grow up with emotional tools to be able to handle these different parts of us. And then additionally, we grew up in a culture that was really about pushing a lot of stuff away because we didn't have those tools. I also can't kind of not bring up the fact that a lot of the programming in the white tribe has to do with pushing things away and not feeling the stuff that comes up, which is very specifically helpful if you are in an oppressor body, because why would you want to feel all that stuff? So the cool thing about that programming is that we're all in a generation that is here to change the game around that, here to open up that conversation. And I'm really excited about that because so much of the shadow stuff has to do with hierarchies, power over models, authoritative stuff. And I just want to say hello to that right out of the gate, because if you aren't aware of how I teach, welcome. I teach without that hierarchy and without those oppressive models and without that authoritative energy. I really do feel like you and I are collaborators in this. I feel like we are co-creators, and that's why this class is less about heaping information on you and much more about holding space for you to do the really important work that sometimes is very, very difficult for us to do by ourselves. It really isn't until we're super triggered by some shadow aspect that we are asked to really greet these aspects of ourselves and say hello to them. And oftentimes in those moments, that is the most challenging time. So I want to create a safe little nest here for us to be able to say hello to that stuff in a way that is non-threatening, very thoroughly healing, and then something that is functional enough for you to take into those moments that are triggering. So that's my goal for the evening. But before I dive into all the meditations we're going to be doing, which we will be doing quite a few, and I'll be walking you through a couple of really important emotional tools, but I want to open it up for you guys to say hello if you want to, ask any questions that you have, and really I'd love to hear from you what shadow work means to you and the kind of work that you've been doing around it, if you don't mind, because this class is collaborative. So if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, that will likely be at the bottom of your screen. If you're on your phone, you can just tap your phone and I think it will take you to an unmute option. Anybody?
Hi, I'm Katie.
Hi.
Hey, I took the first shadow work class,
Yep.
and it was super helpful. I'm in like not a healing crisis because I've been like healing for a long time, but like definitely in a deep phase of physically, energetically, and just like metaphysically restructuring my whole life. So I've been doing the aura meditation that you gave us and that grounding meditation like several times a week, and it's helping a lot. But I'm also seeing a lot of spaces where like I don't have that boundary line. I don't know where my aura ends and begins, and like a lot of the stuff that I'm experiencing inside is definitely like other people's stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to like getting deeper into like what is actually me, and instead of what I'm trying to serve to other people.
Well, thank you for speaking to that. The neat thing about shadow work is that we don't really have to play that game with ourselves. Meaning, we can just go ahead and accept the things that are in our space as something that is there for us to be with. It always kind of was a weird thing in the spiritual world that we are trying to differentiate each other from one another, or energy that's ours from energy that isn't ours, even though we can talk about it from that perspective. But tonight, I want you guys to just kind of drop all resistance to everybody else's energy, and whatever you find in your space, just embrace it like it's yours, because ultimately, you are the all that is. You are the everything that exists. You are everything that is negative. You are everything that is positive, and you are everything in between. And that is the crux of where we're coming from tonight with shadow work. That there is nothing outside of you. That everything can be found in here, and there's nothing to fight. So that was a perfect thing to bring up, because even right there is a place where we can say hello to how we do that as humans, and especially how we do that in the spiritual community, where it's like, well, what's my energy and what's somebody else's energy? Which is a very legit thing to ask. But do you ever notice how there isn't like an answer to that? Or there isn't a way to like get clear on that? And it's very specifically because it doesn't, at a certain point, doesn't really exist. You are me, I am you. We are sharing in this experience together, and the brutality of humanity and the gnarliness of humanity is going to come up for us to clean up individually in our own spaces. And when you do that, you become the liberator of a lot of people around you when they're in that space too, because you can greet them with less fear, less resistance, and a lot more amusement, which really helps out. And you're clear on your boundaries, which is really what I think you're saying, is that we're struggling to find our boundaries, which is really the case. When you do shadow work, these aspects of you are so comfy with you that they're very clear. Like when somebody says something and it doesn't jive with you, instead of having that shadow aspect pushed so far into the corner of like, I don't want to be a bitch, I don't want to let this out, I don't want to project onto somebody because I don't know where I'm coming from. Now that aspect is going to be so comfy with you that in that moment, you're going to hear it, you're going to know its power, you're going to be able to trust it because it doesn't have like a whole boatload of energy coming at you, and you'll be able to say the thing in the moment, which is really the hardest thing for empaths to do, is say the thing in the moment. So I think it's really awesome that we're looking for boundaries tonight, and we're going to definitely find them. Okay, anybody else? Cody, how's it going? I haven't heard from you.
I don't know.
Oh,
Can you hear? Hi.
I can hear you.
Okay. I haven't done much of this. I was really curious. I'm kind of going through some stuff, and I saw this today and I just felt drawn to it. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I know. That's yeah.
What is, just off the top of your head, because you are so new to this, what does shadow work mean to you?
I think facing the dark things that you feel, not the dark things, but like the negative, and making friends with them, and knowing that they're there for a reason, and it's not fearing whatever there are, the different feelings you have. I'm not quite clear on it, but that's what it means to me.
Yeah, you nailed it. That is really what it means.
Okay.
We grew up as young sensitives, young empaths, young psychics. Probably, if you were anything like me and the people that I work with, really terrified of this stuff coming up. And because we didn't have tools, and we didn't have, witches on Instagram, and we didn't have access to all of this stuff, mostly we came to our parents and we're like, hey, there's a dude in my room who's telling me things. And your parents are like, that's not real. Just tell it to go away. That's not real. And so we end up shutting off these aspects of ourselves that can communicate. So it's like we get the cultural programming of anything that's shadowy should be pushed away. And then we get the additional programming of, and shut down all of your psychic abilities so that you can't communicate with it. The effect of that, I'm laughing at it because it's so ridiculous, but the effect of that is not funny at all. It's sometimes 20, 30, 40 years of people not being able to access themselves. So I want you guys to be very patient with yourselves as you go through this. It's the reason that I'm offering this class probably every couple of months, because we need these safe spaces to come work and unpack some of this long-standing cyclical trauma that we have with ourselves around our growth processes. If we don't have these tools and these abilities to be with ourselves, we don't have safe space within us for this to be a gentle process and a loving process, then we go round for round for round for round, and we start thinking there's something wrong with us. And that is really, really corrosive. That is something that I really want to end this evening. All right, so anybody else before we get to grounding and starting the process?
Yes, I had one quick question.
Hey.
So most people are either afraid of shadow work or they're on the other side. What if you're on both sides and you have troubles like bridging both the dark side and the light side? Like you're either on one side or the other. And some people may say you're bipolar, but you're just flipping between the two.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it makes total sense. Makes all the sense. You guys are probably all having that experience to one degree or another. Being a genetic bipolar manic depressive person, what I noticed was that as I was going into psychic school and learning all this energy stuff and working as a body worker, that these bipolar manic depressive cycles are a very natural part of the awakening process. Sometimes we are going up into the upper chakras. We're having an awakening up here. A lot of people have a psychedelic experience. That's all the upper chakras when you have that like big expansion. And then what's going to naturally happen is the energy is going to try to fit back down into your body. It'll try to open up your lower chakras. Most people have a bunch of programming in their lower chakras. So when people go through their lower chakra awakening processes, it looks like depression, shadow. When they go through the upper chakra awakening processes, it looks like mania or, mania or anxiety. So the energy is going like this all the time. And it's just lighting up all of the programming and all of the stuff in the way that needs to be moved out in order for that process to be a grounded and peaceful one within yourself. You're learning how to settle a consciousness into your body. So Austin, you're in the perfect place for bridging those energies, because that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking our consciousness and we're consciously bringing it into places that need our attention and our energy. The reason that that works so well is because of this reason. You are the main spirit guide to this human experience. If you guys work with spirit guides, I'm here to tell you as a psychic that they are just another version of you. They're an adaptation of something that you can recognize, and your brain can go, oh, that's comfortable to me. I can allow that aspect of myself and that vision to help guide me. If you have scary things come to you, those are also aspects of you that want to come home to the light of your consciousness. It is your attention and your consciousness focused on something that brings the light and the awareness to it. Now, the problem with that oftentimes is this, and here's the bridging part. We have not installed a positive self-talk into our psyches and into that bridge between the spirit and the body. We oftentimes think there's something wrong with us. We label it. And sometimes labels are great. Actually, labels are wonderful. They can show you where you're at. They can give you a boundary when you don't feel like you have one. So I oftentimes love the manic depressive one, especially when I'm really cycling. I'm really going through an awakening. I'm like, woo, okay. Just a little bipolar energy there. So labels are cool, and yet we're going to be moving ourselves out of all of that stuff so that we can do the actual bridging and start to install a more loving and consistently productive way of dealing with ourselves. Does that make sense? So the issue isn't that we're cycling. That's just naturally what's going to happen. And by the way, what you're doing is stitching consciousness into form. You're taking that upper chakra information, bringing it down into the body. The body's opening up. It's giving you feedback as to everything it needs from you and what it needs you to say hello to after thousands of years of negative programming. And your ability to greet it on both ends means everything in terms of your ability to grow quickly and powerfully and to be able to be with yourself. So it's not about growing for anybody else. It's not about knowing the most. It's about tools for you to work within yourself. Is that making sense? Just going to keep unraveling this the more I talk to you guys. Okay. Anybody else want to chime in? Otherwise, we're going to get to working. That's what this space is about. Beautiful. Go ahead and close your eyes. Would you just settle into your chair? Settle into your body. And then would you just settle into the class space? This space is here to hold you. So tonight is a good night for you to be bold. It's a good night for you to ask questions. It's a good night for you to let go. It's a good night for you to be seen. So take a couple of big deep breaths in through your belly and out. And would you start just feeling your physical form? Feel your body. Notice any areas of sensation, tension, sensitivity. And there's nothing to do but notice. Do you let your body know that you're going to be doing a bunch of work tonight that's going to help it feel more comfortable, and it's going to help you interact with it in a more positive way? So really, you can let your body know that you're going to be taking the role of the main spirit guide. And see how your body feels about that. And then would you say hello to your infinite self? The infinite part of you that is being focused into this body. And just see what your relationship is like to that today. Taking another big, deep breath, would you begin to intentionally pull your energy out of everywhere it's been so that you can be most focused here? So, in your mind's eye, would you see your energy coming back from your job, your creative projects, your children, if you have them, people that you're nurturing like children, your partners, your lovers, your friends, your family? Pull your energy back from fixing and solving anything in your life. Pull your energy out of your financial space. Pull it out of social media. If you notice your mind wandering towards something specific, that's wonderful. It shows you where your energy is. Pull it back and put it on you. It's worth saying again that tonight we are not fixing and solving anything. We are going to practice being with different parts of ourselves. So if you have been expending a lot of energy trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with X, Y, or Z in your life, would you go ahead and liberate yourself from that now? And now would you let your body know that we're going to begin the grounding process? This is a psychic tool for grounding. This is how we do it. Would you see in your mind's eye the energy that's present in your pelvic floor? Would you notice the color and the general vibe of the energy? Now, with a show of hands, and keep your eyes closed, did anyone notice anything that they didn't like? Maybe some stagnation, something that they didn't really appreciate. Hands up, right? Yep. So here's your first shadow work lesson. Would you say hello to that aspect of yourself? You guys are so funny. Would you say hello to that aspect of yourself? And would you thank it? Because I'm willing to bet that it's very intelligent. The reason that it's black, or that it's stagnant, or that it's just isn't as sexy as you want it to be, is because your first chakra actually knows exactly what it's doing. In fact, what I notice a lot with people is that their first chakra will be all kinds of chunky and gross and weird, not a fun color, black, whatever, because it's trying to slow you down. It's literally trying to put you into bed, to get out of your mind, to get you into some kind of delicious depressive cycle so that you will be still. The reason for this is because the first chakra needs stillness in order to actualize. So the way that we're constantly stimulated, always on our phones, always on the go, likely your first chakra was not fun because it was overly still. That's genius. So would you thank this aspect of you for having more intelligence than your conscious mind does? Would you let it know that you're going to consciously be interacting with it tonight and that it can trust you and that you're willing to earn that trust with work? And now look at your first chakra. You raise your hand if that changed the vibe. Yep. The cornerstone of the work we're going to be doing tonight has to do with respecting every single thing that you find. I promise you, the darker, the scarier, the more stuck it is, the more unconscious, the more terrified, the more goblin-like, the more power it actually is holding, the more light it is holding for you. So, taking a big deep breath with this new level of respect that you have for yourself, would you choose a color that has been absolutely compelling and delicious to you lately? It's springtime, there's a lot of beautiful colors out there. Would you pick one that's been really healing? And would you let your first chakra know that you're going to be filling it with this color, and then do so? Start to fill in your whole pelvic floor. Really let it open and spin. And then you stay right here in your body, right here with us. But would you let this color work for you and let it drop through the layers of the planet into the core of the earth, where there's a neutral core? Now just be breathing nice big deep breaths. What's happening right now is your body is reconnecting to the planet in a very intentional way. And you're going to start to release all of the psychic exhaust in your energy field and in your body that has maybe been building up for a few weeks, a couple months, maybe a few decades. Who knows? It's really common for your pelvic floor to start to flutter and pulse. Some people even have an orgasmic feeling that happens in that space. If you do this long enough, your body's going to start to respond. Now we're going to move our energy and attention down to the soles of our feet. Would you tap them on the floor, squeeze them if they're close? Just move them around, really get your feet moving. Awesome. You've got accessory chakras to that first chakra in your feet. They are responsible for that urge that you have at the beach to take off your shoes, get in the grass or get in the sand, get in some water. would you let those feet chakra open up? Fill them with the same color. Tell them that you love them. And then let that color work for you and drop through the layers of the planet into the earth. And then I want you to start doing some deep belly breathing. You're going to start receiving that beautiful neutral earth energy that's going to be coming up through your first chakra and your feet chakra. It's going to run through your feet and ankles, through your calves and shins, breathing it up through your knees and your thighs into your hips, and letting it fall down your grounding. The fun thing that's happening now with you doing this is the earth energy is starting to remove any obstacles or blocks that have been in the way of you moving forward. That's fun, huh? Yep. So much of this is about you guys pulling your energy and attention out of fixing and solving things and trying to make it happen, and actually just coming back into the present moment, into your body, which is where you need to be anyway to receive your manifestations, to receive your guidance, your next steps. This earth energy is helping you do that. Taking another big, deep breath, would you let the energy run up through your central chakra column, really opening up your chakra centers. So I'm going to go line by line here. Let the earth energy move as a color or even as a sensation or both from your pelvic floor into your lower belly. Let it spin into that second chakra in your lower belly. Let it open it up to 100%. Get bold. Open chakras are happy chakras. Give yourself permission to expand in your sexuality, sensuality, and emotional space. Some of you might already starting to be interacting with the shadow aspects in that space. We have a lot of them in the second chakra because we have so much control around our sexuality. Taking another big, deep breath, let the earth energy move up into your solar plexus. Allowing your solar plexus to open up. It's your vitality, it's your self-confidence, it's your personal power. Go ahead and let that open up, take up space. Beautiful job, everybody. Really good meditators. Go ahead and take another big, deep belly breath. Move that earth energy consciously up into your chest, opening up your fourth chakra. We're going to be spending a lot of time here tonight. That heart chakra has to do with your identity, your ego, your divine expression. Yes, you need an identity. Yes, you need an ego. We're going to be working on making that ego a healthy thing. If you have been trying to destroy your ego, will you apologize right now? Just say, I have been confused. I am so sorry. I'm going to listen tonight instead of trying to destroy you. Beautiful job. Would you let all the shadow aspects of your personality that you have not been able to be with or be fully present with know that you are going to be right back? Tell them you are going to be so there for them. Listening, loving. And then would you take another big deep breath, move it up into your 5th chakra, throat. Communication with yourself and others. And here's where I really want you to open up that 5th chakra. Our internal communication was really given to us by our parents and society oftentimes, and half spiritual truths. So we have been a little wonky with the way that we communicate with ourselves. Let the earth energy come in and clear that space out. Open that 5th chakra up. You might even just want to do a Kali tongue out, primal scream kind of vibe right now. You're all muted. Go ahead, make noise. But I like to do the tongue out, like or even the dragon breath, fire breath. Let that 5th chakra move. Taking another big, deep breath, would you move the earth energy up into your mind's eye, the center of your head, your 3rd eye. Seat of creativity, imagination, perspective, neutrality, amusement. The psychic ability known as clairvoyance. If you have been carrying out someone's vision, somebody else's vision for your life, would you just notice that? It's very common for people to have a picture of what their life should be like that was created from their parents, their social structure, their society. Maybe you notice that that's been happening with you. Really let that earth energy in this evening. Let it start to deprogram those pictures and make space for you and your vision, which may have been obscured. Taking one more big deep breath. Letting that energy from the earth come up through your chakra column all the way to the top of your head where you've got your 7th chakra. Let the earth energy move through your 7th chakra. Let it start to open and spin and ground you. 7th chakra is your knowingness. It's your ability to know your answers, know yourself, know your path. And just for shits and giggles, would you say hello to every spiritual book, guru, teacher, guide you've ever had? And would you put them into a little bubble and thank them so much for their work? Tell them that you hope they receive millions of dollars for all their beautiful work. And then would you let that float away, and would you be alone as an authority figure in your own space? Please include me in that. Tonight, you're going to be the sovereign one. You're going to be your own authority. as you feel that earth energy moving up through the core of your body, would you let it start to radiate out into all of your organs, your cells, your tissues, your appendages, your capillaries and arteries and veins, your muscle tissue, your tendons and ligaments, your nerves, your hormones, now, you don't have to make any of that happen. Just by me calling it out, it's already starting to happen. You can relax a little bit and just receive. So I want to include one more thing in this, and that is your aura. Would you notice that color again that you were using to ground with? And would you put a little grounding cord on the space around you? About 5 feet in every direction will be your aura. And would you let your aura space also drop through the layers of the earth, this color, and let it connect into the core? This is just going to give your energy some space to release. It is extremely hard to feel safe without a nice, healthy aura. And oftentimes when people are talking about boundaries, we are talking about aura work. Feeling safe in our energy. So here's the last psychic thing we're going to do before we come out of meditation. I want you to just scrunch your shoulders up real tight to your neck. Really tight, and then release. Scrunch your hands and your arms up really tightly. Tighten your back muscles really, 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 really tight. Go, 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 go. And then release. And then your legs. Would you flex your hamstrings, flex your quads, really get those legs nice and tense. Point, point, point the toes. And relax. Just kind of squeegeeing out the body a little bit. And then would you find some stillness, a place where you can just kind of rest a little bit with your eyes closed. For about 30 seconds, I'm just going to be quiet, and I want you to let the earth energy help you release. And you see it if you can get as still as humanly possible. Beautiful job, everybody. Take a big, deep breath. Let your body know you're going to be coming out of meditation. Stretch and move and come on out. Mm. For those of you that are not heavy duty meditators, very well done. That was a big, crazy clean out. And that's kind of how I like to teach this class, is one, really getting the earth energy moving through. I do this with every class, but with shadow work, it's particularly helpful because I want to get your body open and clear enough to be able to communicate. And then the second meditation that we're going to do is one that's going to help make space for your spirit. So you're going to start to be able to hear both of these things. This is going to be repeat for some of you, but it's really worth internalizing over and over again. And it's this: your body communicates in sensation, emotion, and desire. So if you have sensation, emotion at any point throughout the day, or like a impulse or a desire to do something, that is really coming from your body. Now, because of cultural programming, we have learned to tamp that energy down really intensely. This is your invitation to never do that again. This is your invitation to, every single time you feel a sensation, emotion, or you get a desire from inside yourself, to go, hi, thank you. Thank you for letting me know energy is here. Thank you for communicating with me. So much of the awakening process and the healing process is you getting with this human form, because that's what we're doing here in this lifetime. If you were going to be a beam of light that was disembodied, you would have stayed out of a body. You wouldn't have gone through all the agreements and the karma that it takes to even get here and go through your childhood and all that stuff. So what we're doing is work on the body for the most part. So the body communicates sensation, emotion, and desire. The spirit communicates in color, symbol, thought, idea, and picture. So whenever you get an inspiration, a new idea, you see symbols and numbers over and over again, that's a communication from your spirit. Now, what I notice in this awakening process is our bodies are detoxing from thousands of years of different kinds of programming and pain and all of that stuff. And our spirits are trying desperately to get through the layers of that programming in our energy field to be able to guide us correctly. And what we hit as we go to do that is all of the shit in the way of being able to integrate both of those things together, marry them as one. That's really what we want, is a body that is fully integrated into spirit, and a spirit that is fully integrated into the body. There is some shit in the way of being able to do that. Have you noticed? Anybody been a spiritual seeker for 10, 15, 20 years? Noticed any of the energy in the way of being able to do that? So tonight we're gonna work on a tool that allows you to bridge that energy really nicely. But before I go into the spirit part of it, and then the latter half handling that part, are there any questions? Anything interesting that came up? Anything that you want to chat about? Feel free to unmute. This is a good time to do any workshopping if there was something that came up.
Hi.
Hi.
So I did Kundalini yoga teacher training. So I did a lot of chakra, but it's been a long time, but I felt the top of my head really open up, and it's been a really long time since that happened. And it's like almost headachy.
Yeah. It's not uncommon for me to pop an Advil after a chakra class, because these upper chakras can be sometimes really intense. But
Okay.
yeah, Kundalini teacher, way to open that seventh chakra up again.
I
Kundalini is
haven't done it in a while, so.
Yeah, Kundalini is such a beautiful intersection between those lower and upper chakras. That's why it's so popular with people right now, because this is the healing. Whatever tools you can get that integrate body into spirit and vice versa, do them. Kundalini yoga is great for that. All right. Anybody else?
When you told us to have the last 30 seconds of alone time, my whole body was like, fuck no. So that's probably an aspect of shadow work, but it was interesting trying to be still, just didn't want to do it. So I don't know what that was about.
It's such good feedback. There was probably something that was threatening about doing that at some point, you know, or just a really well-worn neural pathway that's like, we don't do that. So that's super awesome that you got that feedback. And thank you for bringing that up, because what you guys are going to be feeling as you do these things is exactly what I'm going to highlight at the end when we really start doing shadow work. The thought patterns, the things that go off inside of you, the sensations, the communication that kind of runs in your head, any emotional energies that come up, that's really what we want to start being present with, without judgment, without us being like, I don't know what that is, I don't want to do that, or any strong aversions or, you know, connections that we want to make. It's just sort of like, oh, that's interesting, I feel that way. And then we're going to work some tools to be able to get into that a little bit deeper when you do feel that. But that is like what we're trying to get to. I'm trying to create a space where it's safe for you to start to watch your thoughts and watch your feelings and watch your feel into your body and have it be something that you know what to do with. Okay, so cosmic energy. Cosmic energy, so Earth helps to clear out all of the stuff that's in the way of the body, anything that's been calcified, anything that's been in there a really long time. If you haven't done chakra work in a while, your chakras are sending and receiving energy all of the time. So just like you brush your teeth and wash your face and wash your hair every single day or wash your body every single day, there is a certain energetic hygiene that we need to have if we're going to be at the kind of the edge of our creativity and our self as a being. And that's why we clear out the chakra centers. That's why we clear out our energy in a psychic way, because it's making room for us to inhabit deeper. So the body's going to be communicating. The body is the memory of everything that has ever happened on this planet. So oftentimes when you're doing shadow work, it has a lot to do with family patterns, tribal karma, these larger connected human things that are way farther beyond your individual lifetime. Does that make sense? So that's part of the scary thing that happens when people start grounding. This happens a lot when I'm teaching trainings. I'll teach grounding and then all of a sudden people are like, that was amazing, that's all I want to do. And then all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, the goblins have started coming out. And I'm like, yeah, because when you're grounding, you're telling your human form, I'm ready to let go of all of this pain. I'm ready to let go of this cyclical trauma. I'm ready to make space for my consciousness to say hello to this and be the reliever of the pressure and the stress. So if that starts happening, good. The cosmic energy that I'm going to help you run right now is making space in your body for your spirit, that infinite part of you, that original essence. And oftentimes, a sensitive being who feels all that cultural stuff and backwash and family karma and all the stuff that's in the body that we have a hard time moving, it will hang out outside the body, which is why we focus outside here all the time. It'll have a hard time kind of wanting to be in this form if it's all clogged with a bunch of energy. So now that we've cleared the deck a little bit with Earth, we're going to go in and clear the deck even more with cosmic energy and make this a friendly zone for your infinite spirit to come inhabit. And then we're going to start cooking with gas in terms of shadow work. So go ahead and close your eyes one more time. It's worth saying too that if you guys need to pop into a child's pose or a downward dog or primal scream into a pillow or go to the bathroom, by all means do such things. Taking another big deep breath, say hello to your body again, and just notice how it's handling the psychic information. Some people have bodies that like to move really slow, and the way I teach drives them crazy. That's okay. Let your body know that you are the one in charge and you are the one that loves it and is guiding it and is ultimately teaching it. So you go at your pace. So instead of starting from the first, we're going to start from the seventh chakra. Say hi to that seventh chakra again. Notice that openness, the way that the earth energy is just rocketing through that space. And would you let your seventh chakra start to bring down a neutral cosmic energy, whatever that means to you. Neutral cosmic energy. You might want to see it as a color, makes it easier to work with. Neutral cosmic is the energy that creates worlds, possibility, magic, flow, alignment. You've ever been like, what's my path? I want to get on my path. Here it is. Here's how you make your path. Do you invite it to come spin in your seventh chakra and joining the earth energy in that space? Mm-hmm. Let that cosmic energy move down into your mind's eye, right into that sixth chakra. So this cosmic right now is repairing any damage that was done by somebody else being in authority, any damage that was done while following somebody else's vision. It is going to realign you to you. I don't know if you guys notice this, but cosmic energy wants to move faster, doesn't it? Just wants to like go all the way down the chakra column. Earth energy moves slower, the body moves slower. Spirit and cosmic energy moves faster. So let it move fast. Let it move into your fifth chakra, fourth chakra, third chakra, second chakra, first chakra. Let it rocket down into the center of the earth and back up through the layers of the planet into your feet chakra. Take a big deep breath. Give the cosmic energy permission to radiate out into all of your cells and your tissues and your organs and your tendons and your ligaments and your capillaries and your skin cells and your reproductive organs and all of your chakras and every layer of your aura, whatever that looks like to you. Until you find yourself in this little energy exchange where you get to sit back and relax and let the earth energy rocket up through the earth, all the way through your energy field, and the cosmic cascading down from the heavens, moving through your energy field and your body, mixing, mingling, dancing, partying with the earth energy that's going on in there. This is how you bridge body and spirit in a nice, clean, functional way. least on a psychic level. There's a million other ways to do it. Now, if there's anything that your higher self has been trying to communicate with you, desperately wanting you to get, now that you're open, would you say, hey, and let it deliver the message? Beautiful job, folks. Let your body know you're going to be coming out of meditation. Would you stretch a little bit? And come on back into the class space. How's everybody feeling? Good? Good. I'm going to unmute everybody just for fun. If your background is super loud, just remute again. But I want to give everybody the opportunity to chat. Okay, so some of you are very familiar with that because you've been hanging with me for a long time and you're master psychics on your own. But for those of you that were new, or even some of you that have been doing it a while, how was that clean out? What did you notice? What was most compelling to you?
I noticed that I didn't have to move, like, I didn't have to will the energy as hard. Normally I have to like focus and like pull it and I have to feel it. This time it kind of like warmly floated up or like warmly floated down, which was really nice.
Yeah.
So it felt deeper.
Nice. Non-effort. It's a beautiful thing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say cosmic energy is a lot more enjoyable than grounding energy for whatever reason.
Says the super spirit focused person. I was the same way too. I mean, the grounding energy is incredibly healing, but it does move slower because it's that lower frequency. Earth energy or anything physical is just matter condensed into form. So when you're kind of a conscious sort of cosmic focused person, earth energy and body stuff can be really like Taurus season, you know, but now it's Gemini season and everybody's excited about the cosmic energy and the way that it's flowing and the way that it moves faster. My earth sign people, you know, it's funny. It's like a lot of my earth sign people, especially my Taurus women, for whatever reason, every time I get them to run cosmic energy, they're just like, no. I don't want any of that. That makes me feel unsafe. Opportunity, possibility, no fucking way. No, thank you. I want to control that. So it's funny when people have different responses to different parts of those energies. It tells you where you're at. Anybody else? Anything interesting?
Yeah, I don't know, like going through the empath school with you and like doing this work all the time, I got really used to grounding and running earth and cosmic energy. And so I like sort of knew exactly what to do and was like going through the motions, but the feedback from my body this time was like loud. It was like, oh no. And like I have been like feeling way more clear in general in my life, like after that class, like it's been amazing, but I haven't been keeping up with like the work as much, and my body was like, okay, there's still stuff here. Like you gotta face it.
The layers.
Yep. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, guys, I'm going to mute everybody unless somebody else has something that they want to add or questions about anything that we're talking about. Unmute yourself by all means and ask away. Oh, good, we got Cody back. Yay. Okay, so running earth and cosmic energy and teaching this work actually pushed me into shadow work in a really interesting way, because I would teach this information and I would kind of just let it hang. I would teach clairvoyance and how to clear energy after those 2 lessons. But there was something that was really missing, and it was, what do you do with all of the feedback when it starts to come? So you're going to be clearing space with earth and cosmic energy, but when you clear space, you have more bandwidth to be able to greet the gnarlier aspects of yourself or have things come up that normally wouldn't, because you're relaxed, you're receptive, you're ready to start dealing with these things. And what you're really saying to the universe and to your body and to your spirit is like, okay, I'm ready for the shift. The thing that was missing from me teaching that was, what do you do when those things come up? How do you move through that? And that's how I started teaching more of this work and less of the essential psychic skills work, actually. So here's what you do. When you open up these pathways, when you begin to work with yourself, you have to be able to masterfully greet every single thing that comes up. The way that you do that is by watching your thought patterns, watching where your attention goes, and listening to your physical form. The other way to do that, once you've gotten all that feedback out of the way, is to really sink into the center of your head and invite these aspects to take a step forward. Now, not all of you will work with the center of your head as intensely, but those of you psychics that have trained in that way, this is a safe place to do it. Other people, sometimes opening up their heart space or opening up their, just their like lower chakras, or even just to their own empathy, whatever it takes to get you to be able to communicate with these aspects, do it. It's just that the center of your head and your ability to visualize puts you in a space that's very neutral and very able to just greet whatever's coming up and see the energy clearly. Instead of just intuiting it or feeling it, you can see it and go, oh, hi, there you are. So if there's some aspect of you that's coming up that's like very arrogant or really badass, it doesn't have to be this aspect that you don't like. It might be an aspect that you like a lot that's coming back to say hello to you or give something of itself to you. It needs to be claimed and owned and loved. So that's what we do when we're in there. We let whatever's coming up come up. We get to that kind of 0 point with the earth and cosmic energy so that we can start the communication process. The biggest thing that happens with people as that communication process starts to occur is they start judging that aspect, or they don't understand it and what it's coming through, and they think they need to massage it or maneuver it or do something with it that is proactive in order to shift or change it. And that is not wrong. If you look at our programming, it's all about that. If you have a challenge or you can't figure something out, you go into your analyzing space and you start trying to solve it. But I want to call your attention to how it feels when somebody who's a really good friend of yours starts doing that to you when you go to talk to them about something. Do you ever notice how irritating that is when you just want to be seen and you just want to be heard and you just want to be seen? And that person's going, well, have you tried this, or did you do that, or what do you think about this? Do you think this? And they start trying to fix and solve and change you. You will likely start to get really tense and prickly about that on the inside, and for very good reason. You're not being fully received. This person is trying to fix and solve and change you. That is exactly what we do to ourselves almost all day, every day, unless you have this kind of way of dealing with yourself installed into your brain. So I'm going to help you install that into your brain, because I think trying to fix and solve and change something is not fully respecting it. It's not fully seeing it for the power and the beauty that it is. And we're coming from a place where we've already decided how it should be, and we're trying to push ourselves in that direction. That is never going to work. We go internal. We do internal work to be able to greet these parts of ourselves and just figure out what they are and midwife them the best way we can. The other thing that happens is we judge it as right or wrong. God, that if I could just go back and erase anything out of the human programming, especially in that like religion, seventh chakra, spirituality place, it would be this misunderstanding of the dichotomy of good and evil, of lightness and darkness. Of course there's lightness. Of course there's darkness. There's dark matter, there's light matter. I honestly think the tension of life is the light matter and the dark matter rubbing against itself and having an interaction. And that's why everything's so frictiony here. It's also how you get mass and form. Friction, heat. Your ability to be with that dynamic tension and just be easy in it and be able to observe it and be able to midwife that process really well for yourself is of paramount importance if you're going to grow well. So we need to kind of take the energy off of those aspects, that projection that we do, and just be there for it as a really epic guide. So I'm going to dovetail back to the way that we communicate with ourselves. We've illuminated how we try to fix and solve everything. We really need to start installing a new, I'm going to say, parental voice, a new guide within us that is all loving and able to handle whatever's coming up. So I'm going to walk you through this little by little. Go ahead and close your eyes. Feel that earth and cosmic energy running. Do let yourself be in a soft place within yourself. Pull your energy and attention into your mind's eye. Let your body have sensations, let your mind wander. And notice what it settles on. Where does your energy and attention go? Naturally. Now, wherever it's wandering to, would you just say thank you? Thank you for showing me this. Notice what happens when you say thank you. I'm going to give you some extra space here, some quiet time to just kind of let whatever come up, come up. And would you just keep saying thank you? Thank you for showing me this. Thank you for telling me this. Beautiful. Let any aspects of yourself or anything that's come up know that you will be right back. Now, would you take a big deep breath, let your body come out of meditation, come on into the class space again. And we're just going to retouch in. I'm going to unmute everybody. Anybody notice anything interesting that they'd like to share? How was it saying thank you?
A lot of fun.
Yeah? Good. What was fun about it?
Oh, when I say thank you, I turn everything into little minions, and
Into what?
into little minions from like that film,
Uh-huh.
and we just have a lot of fun. So just joking around, stuff like that.
That's awesome. Yes, lightness of being with these aspects of self is so good. That when you show your self-respect in that way and you don't try to fix and solve everything or just be like, about everything, your natural lightness and that levity that happens with spirit can come through and things become a lot less serious. And then when things are a lot less serious, the aspects of yourself start to feel safer to come talk to you instead of being like some tyrant dad that's like about all of it. So that self-respect really, really does wonders. And that's what we're doing here. Valuing what's coming up, not trying to maneuver it, manipulate it at all, just being with whatever comes up.
Question, that dad aspect that you brought up.
Yeah.
How to be with that in the same way you would be like with the divine feminine. How can you be with that to work with it? Because from my experience in like real life, it's not healthy. So trying to get a good perspective when you haven't been shown that before by making sense.
So this is beautiful. Great question, because what we're doing when we see these aspects is we're saying hello to them. And then eventually, and we can move into this part of the lesson, which is really valuing that they have something to give. Even if you think they've been ruining your life and the life of everyone around you, even if you are so sure that they are a patriarchal control structure that needs to be disassembled and thrown into the depths, you want to value and honor whatever aspect is coming up. And that's a really shadowy aspect, especially for a guy. That's a beautiful thing that you were able to say hello to and that you're going to continue to say hello to. when we go in, it's easy with the nice parts of ourselves to be like, oh, you're innocent and sweet. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me know. It's a whole other thing when it's something that you really, really don't want to be associated with and don't want to see. But oftentimes, because we're the sensitives and we're the psychics, that's the energy comes to us. It's not coming to us because we somehow are going to become that. It's coming to us because we are the ones who can liberate it with our hello. So I want you to always remember that you're the one in charge of this, meaning it's not coming to you to be a goblin to take over your life. That's what the Judeo-Christian programming would say. It's coming to you because you are the light of consciousness and it wants your attention. Why? Because you're the liberator. Your ability to say, hello, I see you, I hear you, I receive your gift, I see your power, thank you for being here, will allow it to calm down, and it won't be such a gargoyle. It won't be a tyrant. It will be seen, it will be heard. I think a lot of that energy that you're talking about, that masculine energy, and this is good to say hello to with all of us because this is the healing du jour, is the patriarchy falling. A lot of why men step into that energy is because they're not really seen for their wisdom and they're not really seen as guides and they're not, everybody's like, shut up, sit down, which is legit too. It's all legit, but we have to be able to see why something gets pushed into the shadows and how we can bring it back into the light. So much of shadow work is being able to validate and see the lightness in the darkness and to see the darkness in the light. It's always both sides.
Yeah, so from that place, hi, my
Hi.
love. So good to see you.
So good to see you.
I'm glad to be here.
Mm.
From that place, I would really like to say hello to predator energy
Mm-hmm.
and how that shows up for me in a lot of ways in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And how deep and profound that power is,
Mm-hmm.
and how easy it is to meet it from a default of prey. Like just the very nature of seeing a predator and honoring the predator.
Mm.
There's like this automatic reflex of just, well, there can't be two in the room, right? So I'm gonna assume the role of prey. And what I've been experimenting with is, when you're in the presence of a lion, it's okay to revere it. It's okay to honor and be in awe of it, but also keep your distance and not get killed, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that neutrality is a very interesting and it's a place of power, right? To meet a predator from a place of respect and awe,
Mm-hmm.
and also to know that just because there's one in the room doesn't mean anything for you,
Mm-hmm.
other than that you're able to acknowledge it.
Right. And so have you been able to be with your internal predator, the one that lives inside you?
Yeah, so I have gone on a journey with this, as you know, for the last 2 years, 3 years. And what I recognize in my predator is a almost like a playfulness and a like the wise sage that goes into a jester role, or the fool, like how close that predator is when it's liberated to becoming the fool.
Mm-hmm.
And in between that, there could be the magician or the king, the emperor, right? So it's like this. The predator to me is a really interesting inside of me shadow part that can also flip to playfulness really quickly.
Mm-hmm. That's bitch and shadow work right there.
Yeah. So, you know, and especially it comes back to consent with me internally right now. When I give myself consent, when there's an agreement, you know, it shows up as a dominatrix who's enjoying being that predator and has a relationship with a prey that's consensual.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a mutual exploration of power in that consensual agreement, whether that's happening externally or internally. And that's kind of where the playfulness comes in.
That's really beautiful. That's a really beautiful way to illuminate shadow work, especially with where you're coming from and your background and all the stuff that you are bringing to the table. Like, what an amazing thing to be able to find.
Yeah.
In those moments, I wonder, so you slip right into the prey space?
I've noticed that in the past. It's interesting now that that's not, and it's not from a fight, right? Before it was like, well, gosh, it used to be terror. Oh, fuck, predator, prey.
Yeah.
Like a, out of the window of tolerance right into hypo, right? Like play dead, go possum, like fuck terror, no. And then it went to the other extreme, like my process does. So my process is very bipolar. I ping back and forth between hyper and hypo a lot. So then I go hyper aggressive and like try to fight it and meet it and bully it.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's a noticing first.
Mm-hmm.
And my natural body response is still to go into prey, right? Still go, but I notice it and I'm able to kind of almost, instead of react, I can respond with consciousness and empathy for not only me, but what the situation and context that I'm involved in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not so much anymore into prey.
Awesome.
It's definitely a relaxation into the dynamic instead of a
Resistance.
reaction. Yeah.
The doing of this work, really owning, especially when somebody lights you up like that, if there's a particular kind of person and a title you can give them, like predator's a really good example of that. Who are you as a predator? Who are you as prey? And how can you begin to see the benefit of both of those things, especially if you've been victimized by a type of person? This is a great exercise to do, because as you claim that within yourself and you're able to be with that shadow aspect of yourself, there's typically where all your power lies. And then it's just a practice. Then you're just like checking in with that, checking in with the other side, checking in with that, checking in with the other side, and just being really with those aspects, because you are the all that is. So much of spiritual work, people come to me and they're fucking terrified. They're terrified of themselves and they're terrified of everything outside of them. And they want so badly to have a way to differentiate them from everyone else. And where are the boundaries? And oh my God, because we've been so permeatable and victimized and disempowered and all of that stuff. We are all of those things, but we're also the flip side of all those things. And as we as conscious beings take our awareness and turn it toward both of those and go, I see your power. I love you. Thank you for being a part of me. Thank you for showing me your gift. It stops being able to own you. It stops being able to be this huge dichotomy that you're kind of stuck in. You can be with both of them really nicely and look at the both of them and go, I see your value. Now I'm thinking specifically about somebody being in a boardroom and there's a gnarly predator in that space, because there oftentimes is, because people need to have that part of their body and their energy on and working. if you do enough of this shadow work stuff, and you get with it and get with it and get with it and unravel it in your body and really greet that energy within yourself, when you're around somebody like that, like the energy of the actualized sort of real world thing that happens is you just sit back and smile and you look at that person and you're like, you're a predator. I see you. Nice. You know, and how's that working for you? And you're able to say the feisty things that you guys would normally just let out and say if you weren't so effing triggered by it. So a lot of the shadow work is you getting out of the trigger of something that's just unconscious, that you're like, oh, don't want it, or, oh, I want that. Instead of this craving and aversion that's so intense with people, when you work like this on an emotional level, you do this internal work and make it not about other people, once other people start coming back into the equation, the way that you handle them is so much more masterful and so much less triggered and so much more like, oh, I see you. And it's so funny when you see someone like that who only gets validated for that one part of their personality or totally not validated for it, if you can just be neutral and look at it, they can get seen too. And they start their healing process as well, especially if you're then empowered to say whatever thing. Not from all lit up and triggered place, but from this settled part of your consciousness where you've done the work internally. So there's this like nice balance within you. So when you're communicating or when you're dealing with that person, it's not all scratchy. You're not fighting yourself. You're able to just be like, this is what I have to say about that.
And the terror is legit and real. And when you're in that space,
You just got to get out.
yeah. And it's a process. It doesn't, in my experience, happen. Well, I don't know. Time is weird about those things, but
It is.
It is a process. It is a process. I'll say that. Yeah.
It's a process. I think it's also a strengthening of a muscle too. You know, if we got really victimized, really traumatized by something, don't expect this easy breezy lemon squeezy thing. We just work on it over and over and over again, but it goes a lot faster if we can greet it within ourselves, see it within ourselves, and then when it comes to us from the outside, we're not as triggered. But yes, you're right, it takes time. This is not something that happens overnight, although it's pretty miraculous when you take a couple deep breaths and you just be with whatever's coming up, how fast it moves. Thank you for sharing that. Does anybody else have any other, because we're going to go through some shadow aspects and really start to bring them home to us. Does anybody else have titles like that? Predator, something that's like either not wanted or really pushed aside. You guys think of any things like that?
I deal a lot with perfectionism and recovering from perfectionism. And the thing that was coming up for me was actually a song I listened to earlier in the day. And part of it says, I set my clocks early because I know I'm always late.
Mm-hmm.
And that part kept playing, but they're like shouting it in the song. And so like we're silently meditating, and in my head I'm shouting this. And it's like that acceptance of just like, I know who I am. I can tell you that I run late, and like I do this to protect myself so I can function in your world. And I notice like I see how in my life I've had problems with that. And even like I was in Costco today and some guy's kid was just like in my way, like and I apologized like very quietly to him, like, sorry, like it's like no, like learning how to like speak like you're in my way, like I have a way I'm moving, and like instead of being like perfectly out of his way and like letting him go. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, it's just this interesting way of like I feel very strong in my existence in my body, mm-hmm. but out in the world, mm-hmm. I can't say the thing I need to say or react from like a safe space.
Yep. That's where we do the inner work. Great manifestation of shadow work, though. I bet that was all coming up for everybody. I noticed a lot of my shadow selves coming up today before class because they were just all sorts of lit. So we've got predator, victim, perfectionism. What else?
Bitch.
Bitch. Yes, please. What else? What are you guys really challenged by? Like when you go internal, what's the stuff that comes up? Like, why not just get real? Disempowerment comes up for me a lot.
That's my big one too.
Mm-hmm. Disempowerment. Which means there's probably something on the other end of the spectrum that's like mega empowered. Takes over tons of space. It takes up all the space. Okay. What else, you guys? Can you think of anything else?
I know that a big part of my my work is this like feeling of this deep sense of wrongness, just being wrong and feeling wrong in the world, and that's something I've done a lot of work on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shadow aspect tonight for sure.
Mm-hmm.
With all the shit that's going on, slut. Hussy, wanton.
Slut.
Wanton slut.
Intimacy, the big one.
Intimacy. So the part of you that wants to be intimate?
Communication, with complete transparency on every level.
Communication. Awesome. Right
And
on.
rejection.
Rejection. Cool.
Being too much.
Huh, that's my favorite. Extra.
Extra as fuck, as they say, as you kids say nowadays.
Anybody else? Anything that you guys are really struggling with? Now is the time to kind of put it on the altar. This is a lot more of a group spell. We've got a big vortex going on here. So if you want to throw it in the fire and really start to understand this part of yourself, don't be shy. We all share these qualities.
I would say not trusting.
Okay.
Accepting what other people want to express themselves, like how to accept them but still be yourself.
What can we say for that?
I don't know the word.
I know what you're talking about. I just kind of want to wrap it into a word. I think you put it really well with communication. We can look at the shadow aspect of communication. I think that was, and it's another form of intimacy too, right? Like being with people.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I think it'll come up nicely.
Martyr.
What is it?
Martyr.
Martyr. We've got some good stuff. Predator, victim, perfectionism, bitch, disempowerment, wrong, slut, intimacy, communication, rejection, too much, not trusting, martyrdom. Anybody else struggle with different aspects of their self that come up that just don't seem to have a way to express themselves?
What's the word for like if you were thinking of being a god and you're always correct and everyone always listens to you? It's not conquering or predator. It's more just like when you're in tune with something, you just know the right answer and you're trying to tell someone and they're not listening, and how not to come overbearing to them, but can't think of the word. But I don't know if that made any sense.
Yep, it made total sense. It's like owning what you know and being able to communicate it. Yeah,
I guess it's communication chaos.
Communication over and over. I love it.
Yeah.
That's the big one. That's why that fifth chakra is so key, because the way we talk to ourselves, I think you're going to notice a huge shift. All of you will notice a huge shift in the way people communicate with you. When I started doing this work, there are certain amounts of people who love the fuck out of me immediately or hate me immediately. And it's always been really sort of polarizing. And when I started doing this work and getting with these aspects of self, because they were a safe place they were safe with me, they didn't need to meet people's aspects out in the world and light this dynamic up because I was doing the work. So I didn't need to project on somebody else to figure out how to do this. I was more settled in my space, and then people were a lot more settled around me and they could hear me more. And it wasn't as disruptive, and I was able to be way more of myself. Whereas even the weeks prior, if I were to communicate myself or to say, I know this, everyone in the room would be like, shut up. Out of nowhere, I'd be like, oh, okay, I just won't talk then. But really, it was these aspects of me that I wasn't able to get with that they were in response to. Now, this isn't an invitation to have people be shitty to you. It's just to let you know that oftentimes our brothers and sisters and other people will mirror the shit to us that we cannot see. That is like the reason I do all of this work, because I think it's really sloppy to be that way. I think we need internal tools so that we don't need to rely on each other to see what we cannot see. It really liberates everybody around you from having to do that work for you. And if you're sitting here, you're probably an empath and you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Because your parents probably did it, your family does it, your work partners do it. They just project because they can't see any of their own stuff. This will allow people to actually see that stuff for themselves because you've settled in your own space around it. All right,
The other side of empath is narcissist, right? That's the last one to throw out there.
My favorite shadow aspect.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Narcissist, which is perfect because you were kind of bringing up, Austin, that like, so I kept feeling like arrogance. You know, that energy of like people reading you knowing what you're talking about as arrogance, and that narcissism.
Well, okay, sure.
Empath. Okay, let's do some work, you guys. Go ahead and close your eyes. I'm going to mute everybody so you guys just go ahead and relax. And I'm going to show you how to greet each one of these aspects with a lot of care and respect, even if you don't like them. So feel that earth and cosmic energy moving through you. Would you pull your energy sort of out of the class and back into the center of your head where you are in your own space? Would you put yourself as number one in your energy? Now, as we go through these aspects, there's something I want you to do, and that is to just say hello, no matter if it comes through as an emotion, or if it comes through as a sensation, or if it comes through in your mind's eye, or if nothing happens. Would you just hold space for all these different parts of our humanity that are challenging to be seen and be heard? You are the main guide to this human experience, so you're going to take up that role right now. Would you invite whatever shadow aspect of yourself that needs your attention to step forward? As you say hello, be very gentle. There's a few things that will make it friendlier for these aspects to communicate. You saying hello begins the process. And then would you invite it, if it has anything to share with you, that it can do so now? And then would you say thank you? I see you. And if it feels safe to say this, it can really supercharge the healing. And that's, I love you. You're safe here with me. Thank you for trusting me. And then if there's any power that it's been holding back from you, any light that it's held, would you invite that back into your heart space along with whatever aspect you're looking at? Let it know that it is safe to communicate with you whenever it needs you. And would the two of you get an agreement? What's the signal that it's time to communicate with this aspect of yourself? Once you guys have your information, give it another thank you. And would you take a look at the next shadow aspect coming up? Just take your time, it will come up. If any of you are feeling right now like, I don't know if I'm doing this right, I don't know if this is real, you have definitely found a shadow aspect. Would you say hello to it? Would you give it the love and respect that it needs? Because it's probably kept you out of a lot of weird get rich quick schemes, or each one of these aspects has a reason. It's protecting you from something. You want that, I promise. It just doesn't need to like be a rabid dog that's on the end of a chain that's been not fed and not hugged for 12 years. The part of you that self-doubts keeps you out of some bullshit. The part of you that isolates does the same thing. The part of you that competes keeps you fed. The part of you that's disempowered helps you get along. There's always a very good reason why things are the way they are inside of you. So we want to go with respect. And if you dare, love. So whatever aspect is showing itself right now, would you give it unconditional love? Would you give it the floor? What does it need from you? What have you not been getting about this? Again, let this aspect know that it is safe to be with you, and that it belongs home with you. So let it walk itself into your heart space. You might even want to just put your hand on your heart and say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for showing me everything you need to tell me and show me. I will always be here to listen. And then get in agreement as to how it's going to make itself known to you when it needs your attention again. Now, if for any of you this is edgy or scary, would you say hello to that aspect? The fearful one, who's afraid to include the other. Just breathe into that fear, breathe into that anxiety. In fact, just for shits and giggles, everybody breathe into some fear and anxiety. Just because I'm a masochist. Where's the fear and anxiety in your body? Feel into that space. Yeah, you might even just want to put your hands on it. Just say, hi, I feel you, I see you. Thank you for keeping me safe. Thank you for telling me something is up. I'm so sorry I haven't interpreted the signs very well up until now. I promise you that's going to change. And if it has any messages for you, any of your fear or anxiety, let it come up now. All right, beautiful people. Once your fear and anxiety is feeling safe, seen, heard, held, loved, whatever you can get to tonight, let's party through our list of shitty things here. Okay. In your mind's eye, would you see the energy of predator? See your shadow aspect, predator. Every single one of you has one. If you were forced to, you would hunt and kill something. I know it. You're all animals. Maybe you might hunt and kill kale, but you're still willing to do it. You're still willing to snap that kale off the stalk and eat it. So would you see this aspect of you, or just the aspect of predator, or whatever feels more real? And would you communicate with it? Because that's really the thing here. We get fearful when we can't communicate with each other, when we can't see eye to eye on something. Yeah. You really want to find your version of this. Who are you as a predator? Can you say hello? Can you say thank you? Thank you for trying to keep me safe. Thank you for helping me succeed at things that are my vision of success. You might even want to just apologize for any way that you weren't able to be present with it. And then we're going to move kind of quick here. Do you want to allow that aspect to come back home to you? Would you let it know that you are here whenever it needs to speak? What's your signal that you guys need to powwow a little bit? Wait, I can't say that. Culturally appropriative. When you need a meeting. I live in Portland. We need to be sensitive to these things. Okay. So moving on to the other end of the spectrum, would you say hello to your inner victim? Oh, the power of victimhood. This is a big one if you're in a female body. This is a big one if you've actually been a victim. In your mind's eye, in your body, wherever it feels real, say hello to the victim energy. And would you open your heart and just say, thank you. I love you. I'm here. What do you need to communicate with me? How can I keep you safe? Would you let your inner victim know that it is safe with you? And then would you walk it home into your heart space and let it know that it will always have access to you, that you will always listen for what it needs and what it wants. And we're gonna mosey. Would you say hello to your inner perfectionist? Let it personify. What outfit is it wearing? How perfect is the outfit? Where do you feel perfectionism in your body? When you're running this energy, where is it? You might even just want to put your hand on that place. You might even notice some emotions that feel like other things coming up in response to this. It triggers anxiety, unworthiness. Would you thank your inner perfectionist for having high standards so that you're not a slob? You're not a hot mess express on a regular basis. They're probably pulling you together. Would you let it know that you are wildly interested in its version of you and how we get there? And that is absolutely allowed to communicate with you between the hours of you name it, whatever it is. You want to know what it thinks, you want to know what it feels, you want to know what it wants. And let it also tell you how to get that done. And again, thanking your inner perfectionist, walking it into your heart space, letting it know that it's safe to communicate whenever it needs, that you really appreciate it being there. Moving on. Would you say hello to your inner bitch? What's your relationship to this energy? Some of you love it. Some of you are fully embodied in the bitchcraft. Some of you are probably really uncomfortable with this aspect of self. As you're getting to know it, would you say thank you? Would you show it respect? And would you have it share with you anything that it needs to share? It likely has some marching orders for us. Whenever you're ready, let your inner bitch know that you will always be listening. You are available. And let's move on to the shadow aspect of you being disempowered. Say hello to the disempowered one within you, the one who shrinks. What is it protecting you from? These aspects know what they're doing. They're hella functional. It's likely protecting you from something major. Would you thank it? Literally thank yourself for being disempowered. It's radical. Let your disempowerment know that you are always available to listen. Would you let it give you a signal? Normally, disempowerment's like a feeling in the body, I notice. It's okay if it's not for you, but there might be a sensation that pops up, and that's how you know it's time to be with this aspect. If there's any wisdom that this has to give you, please let it share. Right. Let's say hello to the part of you that is wrong. Just wrong all over the place. Can't even be right. You're so wrong. Whole existence is wrong. Do you invite that forward? What kind of wisdom does wrong have to share with you tonight? What power could wrong be holding? Let that aspect know that you will be coming back to make better and better friends with it all the time. But right now, would you kind of just blow up everything you're looking at, and would you let your inner slut come forward? What does it want and need and desire? What kind of power is this energy holding for you? And can you create a relationship with it where you have open communication and it feels safe with you? It's really what this is about. All right. Let your bodies know you're going to be coming out of meditation. I want to give you guys a quick break, and we're also over time. So go ahead and take a big deep breath. Come on out of meditation. And I want to just interact with everybody and see how it's going for you. I'm probably going to give you the rest of this list to do on your own and email it to you with your homework because they're all really good topics, but I don't want to keep you here forever. So how is it for you greeting these different aspects? Any of it get confusing? Any of it interesting? Any like big aha moments? What'd you guys notice?
During the disempowerment, I like got super sleepy and checked out because my body was just like, no, we're not gonna. But then during slut, I was just like, yes, I know you, I recognize you, I miss you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the disempowerment tends to power people down, literally disempowerment. you're feeling the energy flow. So when you say these words or when you go to interact with them, whatever you're experiencing, there it is. There it is. The first time we did this class, I think it might have been you, Katie, or somebody that was in class. It was like, I just feel like I'm doing it all wrong. I was like, there's your shadow aspect. Whatever comes up, be it an emotion, a thought pattern, even just something that flies through your head really quickly, like that is an aspect of self to be with. That's something that you can observe. It's something you can say hello to, and it's something you can go, hey, I'm here, I'm listening. Do you have anything to give me? Do you have anything you need me to know? Slowly but surely, all of these different aspects of self will begin to trust you and feel really safe with you. And I wonder if some of you guys noticed that a few of those topics held a lot of internal power that was just sort of trapped, waiting for you to be able to communicate with it, waiting for you to be the one to liberate it.
The disempowerment is also, I just realized, was a form of protection. So be an empath. You disempower and no one takes your energy. And you're like, oh, shit.
Isn't that amazing? I had a student who has Lyme's disease, really, really bad, and she's been unpacking it for many years. And we did quite a few shadow deep dives like we do in session together. And she was like, oh my God, it's helping me not have to take responsibility for my like family's karma. It's helping me be so sick that I actually can't overgive anymore. Oh my fucking God. You will notice that there are very good reasons why these things are in place. That's why we go with respect. That's why we go with this like installed unconditional love. Because when we're observing something, we want to be a good spirit guide to this human experience. We don't want to judge the human experience. We don't want to be like, oh, I don't know what that is. You just want to constantly be like, hello, I see you. I've got you. Thank you. Hello, I see you. I love you. I'm here for you. Thank you. So this constant reiteration of respect is not like a bypassing thing. You're not just going to like fluff yourself up and be like, okay, I'm done. No, it's true presence. It's like when you're with a partner and they're fully focused on you and you're just blah, 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 but they're like, I see you. I see what you're saying. Thank you for sharing that with me. Those are the best exchanges. So you want to install this really healthy internal operating system where these aspects feel very safe with you.
I had something really sweet happen. So sometimes my predator shows up as one of my coping mechanisms when I was experiencing developmental sexual abuse was to go hyper vigilant, and I created this part of myself who is this wild child. And the first time I met her, she bit me, she scratched me, she did everything that she'd been wanting to do to the people who had hurt me. And so she showed up as my predator. And then when we moved into victim, it was the 3-year-old counterpart to her, the other part of my inner child. And they met each other and they held hands and they walked into the throne of my heart together. It was really very sweet and tender. And it again just highlighted that word predator is so loaded, right? But she really saved me, right? She kept me alive during some very intense periods of my life. So
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
You guys will continue to notice how these aspects hold so much power. That the ones that are holding you back the most, the shit that is the most confusing, that you want to deal with the least, is actually the thing that's been protecting you the most. And then you'll start to see that in other people too, where they used to grate on you and they used to be irritating or you just couldn't stand those people. You'll see that their shadow aspects are protecting them, and you'll probably see from what, because you're all sensitives. And then you can figure out how to treat that person, hopefully with the same love and care and respect that you give yourself. That's really the ripple effect of this work, which makes me really happy. Was anybody just like flat out confused? It was just like in there and like, oh, Jesus. Any one of the topics that came up that you were like, I couldn't get that one. Everybody got it? It's a lot of heavy psychic work. I'm impressed. So the main things that I want you to know is that shadow work is being with these aspects of self that we don't really take the time to be with, that we don't really know how to respect and care for. This is carved out time that I really think that we should be doing, especially after this class, just 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. First 30 seconds, take some deep breaths. Second couple of minutes, just be with whatever's there. Get that earth and cosmic energy running if you want to, but this will always work no matter what you do. I just got you primed to really go deeper with that energy work, but it'll always be there. As soon as you just drop in and tune in, just watch your thought patterns, watch where your energy is going. You'll be like, oh, there's a part of me that's obsessed with this project. It really wants it to go. Awesome. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for coming out, being a perfectionist. That's awesome. Let me know what you need me to do. And then say hello to the other side of the spectrum. But oftentimes when you say hello to the shadow aspect, you infuse it with enough light that it immediately lightens up for you. And it stops being the scratchy thing that's trying to get your attention and starts being something that's a collaborator with you. So being able to say hello to everything that comes up for yourself. And then secondly, we're really beginning the stages of installing a parental guidance, loving, omnipresent, omni-loving energy when it comes to dealing with yourself. If you can look at all of the parts of yourself and say, I see what you're giving me there. I see why you're here. Thank you. I love you. I promise you, your entire growth process and your life will shift very quickly. We've got to be able to do this. No one is coming to save us. No one is coming to do this for us. And the cruel joke of all of this universe is it runs off the law of attraction, which I think is bogus, but it runs off the law of attraction. So as soon as you start doing this work, you're going to notice a huge difference in the people around you and what you have coming to you. So if you commit to this, even for the next couple of weeks, every single day, 5 minutes in the morning, just be with whatever comes up, respect the hell out of it, let it know that you're here and that you're listening, that you're available for it to be here. It'll calm right down and you will feel a steady level of cohesion within yourself, which is really kind of what everybody's looking for. Be able to heal ourselves. Yeah, that's shadow work. Any questions?
I had a quick question. If you're, is there any quick tips you have if you're spiraling, you're just having a bad day, you're spiraling, to just kind of like keep the terror from like overflowing the dam?
No, spiral. Go there.
Spiral?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. We're not saving ourselves from anything here. This is the deep end. This is the left-hand path. This is the poison journey, my friend. Go there.
All right.
I posted something the other day on my some social circle, and there's this great, it's like a 12-minute Om Rama song. It just like builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. And this one community that I've been working with, I was like, I dare you to smoke a sativa and play this whole song on your headphones and then go through the panic attack that you're going to have. Just go through it. And I really feel like I know that's extreme, but I just feel like the best magicians and wizards and witches and psychics that I know, they don't run. They let whatever comes up come up. And they go there. So if you're in a spiral, God, that's the perfect opportunity. Just be like, yeah. Come on. Tell me everything. Show me everything. Go ahead. Go there. And we talked about this a little bit earlier with what Daniela was saying. Get out of a situation that's overly stimulating. If you need to get safe in that way, please do. This isn't an invitation to go nuts around the people, or like go put your finger on the stove or your hand on the stove with like the most triggering person you can. It's more so, if you find yourself in a spiral, go. Don't try to stop it. Don't fear it, because it's going to give you all this information. And ultimately, that's where the rubber meets the road.
And when you fight it, it lasts twice as long, 3 times as long. And instead of a year on the floor trembling in the closet, you're there for 3. So, not that I would know anything about that, but
not at all. Me either.
FYI.
Yeah, the growth process goes a lot faster because you're literally in non-resistance. It doesn't matter what comes up, you're able to deal with it. And isn't that what we wanted from our parents? Isn't that what we want from our partners? Isn't that what we want, to be seen and heard and held no matter what messy shit we're in? We're modeling it for ourselves in these aspects of self first, so that they know that they're safe with us. And then we become the liberator of everything around us. So, I know I'm an emotional masochist, but court the panic attacks. Have all your information. I know. Anybody else? How you guys feeling? Informed? Yeah, you know. So the best thing to do tonight is to drink some good stuff, kombucha, water, get in some hydration. I teach these classes late for a reason, because it's best if you just go down afterward. So take a little melatonin, get yourself into bed, really just kind of like get your body ready, because when you slip into sleep mode, you're going to be in the astral plane doing all of the actual work. In fact, some of you might see me tonight. I'll be like, hi, let's spiff up those shadow aspects. You're doing a lot of work when you're sleeping, so just be really good to yourself. Be really good to your body, especially over the next couple of days. Nice, solid 3 meals a day, balanced, lots of veggies, a little bit of protein, that whole thing. It really, really helps the integration process. And you are going to need to spend extra time with yourself to let these aspects come up. This is it's a quick burning healing, and it's intense in the weeks afterward. So just give yourself that time, because if they don't have time to access you, that's when they start causing a ruckus in your life. That's when self-sabotage starts happening, because these aspects aren't being heard. So they're going to slow you down in order to do this work. So don't fight it. Just be with these every single day. And then, of course, if you need anything, email me at Erin the Psychic Witch, and I will get back to you, or get to me on any of my DMs. I'll be there for you guys. Questions, thoughts, things that come up, whatever, reach out to me and let me know how it's going, because I want to support you guys through this process. Thank you, brave souls. Well done. Yeah, sleep well. Talk soon.